Yes, finally. We're doing Rise of Gru. This is a review I've been willing to do for like a lot of time because I don't know why I didn't do it before. I don't know, maybe because I was busy getting ready for Christmas, or I just try to focus on more FNAF, and I've done a lot of content of that lately, but I'm trying to get at least do a little bit more something like different. And today we're going to be talking about Minions: The Rise of Gru. So, yeah, a movie for babies. Like I said before in the beginning of this intro, I know. Let me give you my a little bit of my first thought on the first Minions movie, shall I? Well, first off, if you've watched my video, I did a video on the first one, a review on it. I thought that the definition of it was that it was god awful. It was awful. Their motives don't even make sense. Like, they go from looking for a new boss to becoming the King of England. That doesn't even freaking make sense. What? Are you kidding me? How does that even make sense? It's stupid. What? And then, it's just 90 minutes straight of funny beat that boo. Like, I want to see that for 90 minutes straight. Yeah. Like babies are gonna love it. Yeah, babies are gonna love it. Stupid. Yeah. It's like an average 3 out of 10. Its characters were just not really deep. And then, actually, literally 7 years later, they came back with the sequel. Minions: The Rise of Gru. What did I give my opinion on this movie? Well, it is a better sequel. It is a good sequel, but I still want to call this being poorly made. Alright, let's get into it. So first off, Minions: The Rise of Gru is not really like a terrible movie. It definitely is not like it definitely is not like as bad as some other Illumination movies, like the first Minions, or like Sing, or stupid garbage like The Secret Life of Pets, live action trash like Hop. Minions: The Rise of Gru does actually a pretty good job, better than those other films. Honestly, Minions: The Rise of Gru, the first issue with the film is that it's just not really, its storyline doesn't really have a purpose. It just does not have a purpose, and like its storyline, it just has no purpose. It's just so jumbled and random, but it is entertaining for sure. But I'd rather it have a storyline of a purpose. It just feels like a bunch of short films put into one. And I just really didn't enjoy the story. I mean, the plot isn't that terrible. It's like, it just follows from the events from the last Minions, where now the Minions are at Gru now. Gru is 12 or 11. Oh, then okay, then he steals a keychain from the Vicious Six. It's just really not an interesting plot. I was not really interested in it. I was like, oh, whatever. I don't care. Really, you just don't care about the plot. It's so uncareable and forgettable. Because I'm honestly, a lot of Illumination movies, their objective is to not give a good storyline, and all they do is rage everyone that truly loves minors the art form of animation. And they kind of do that to me too. They did it with this film too, and it was just felt like, I don't know, I know that babies like this movie because it's fun, and but it has but all the storyline just means nothing, but it has funny Gru and Minion moment. And yes, that works for the target audience, which is children, but I don't know, it still could have a better story or a deeper plot. If you're gonna spend all this time doing greatly animating movies, you might as well. And also, if it just feels like its title just does not mean a lot. The Rise of Gru, what does it mean? If Gru is gonna be kidnapped for half of this movie, then why is this called The Rise of Gru? Where is the rise? The Gru did not rise in this movie. I was really disappointed. I was just disappointing because if you think about it, he should have rised. But no, they just wanted to be, but instead, since they have the title Minions on there, they just have to throw more Minion moments to make the film easier for themselves. So they can just throw in more Minions, just an excuse to put more Minions in the movie. Honestly, you could have, in the first Minions movie, didn't even have Gru. This one actually works because it has Gru. Yes, this one actually works because it has Gru. This one actually has Gru, so it actually works. Honestly, I think that the Minions only work well when they're Gru. Without Gru, that is just the main Without Gru, they're just the main characters, and that is a terrible world to live in, and it really falls for a stupid movie like the Minions. Honestly, you can basically say that this movie is actually better because it's. I know that like this. I know, like if you think about like he like, but instead I want Gru to go Joker. I want him to like become like the villain that he is in the Despicable Me series, become who he is. But no, it just really just disappoints the older audience. Like what the heck? It's just like what the heck? I'm just really disappointed. Like what's going on here? Where's Gru? But they said they just want to throw more minions. But Illumination shouldn't really just be throwing all these minions in the movie all the time. I think that they just want to throw these minions just because they want to, and they like, because people like minions because they're getting minions shipped Amazon boxes so they can bring back the minions again. Honestly, I honestly don't really like. Yes, and I also think that like the Vicious Six team, who are the villains, by the way. I know it's. I think it might. I kind of think that they ripped off the Sinister Six, but we'll get to that later. Is that the Vicious Six team? They just don't have any personality whatsoever, and they're just so boring and stupid, boring and stupid, boring and stupid, boring and stupid, boring and stupid. Like none of them have any personality, but to be silly. But and like, and which really is really just down. It's just really disappointing compared to some other villains like Joker. And like a villain like Joker works so well because her mix of silliness and scariness adds a lot more attention to the story. I mean, and by the way, I want to tell you the Joker movie. It was a masterpiece. You should really go watch it. I mean, it was a little bit depressing. If you don't like depressing things from movies, then you shouldn't go watch it. But if you're fine with it, you should definitely go watch it. It was a really good movie. It was thumbs up, 10 out of 10, masterpiece. But I know I already did a review on that one too. So if you want to see my full review, I'm not gonna do a full review on that. But really, all of the other Vicious Six team just don't add any don't add any attention to the story. Like half of the time when they're on screen, they literally just stand there. They don't have any personalities. They're just such flat in lazy villains. In Illumination, I like the first two Despicable Me's, like Vector and Al Macho. I like those villains because they actually had good villains. But nowadays, Illumination villains are just so flat and really just don't. They just stand there because they just don't want to put any time and effort into the villains and just want to put them into the protagonists, which I don't. I mean, because they want to spend their time because it feels like the Illumination just doesn't really like to like try that much. Maybe like the Mario movie. The Mario movie's coming out, and guess who's gonna be making that movie? Well, Illumination. Well, yeah, it's gonna be coming out in April, I think. Yeah, April. It's gonna be coming out, and I don't know. I'm having a hard time actually being excited for that movie, or whether I'm gonna be excited or not. Yes, a Mario movie should be God. Let's go. But but Nintendo chose Illumination. Honestly, they should have like done it better. And like Chris Pratt's Mario is just so stupid. Like what the fuck? You obviously pretty just said that you obviously just really needed to be like more like this needed to be made better, I think. I mean, honestly, you can all just say that, like, oh, nobody cares. I mean, yes, it was kind of good, but it was just more just pointless. It's really not. Yes, I just don't. I really like Mario movie. I'm kind of excited for it, but I am really disappointed and mad that it's going to be made by Illumination and Chris Pratt is freaking Mario. Like, what in the world was Illumination thinking? Oh, because they needed someone to be famous. They need someone famous on top of the poster. What an example of laziness back there. So, I mean honestly, like the animation itself looks great for the Mario movie, and but Chris Pratt's Mario voice sucks. It's garbage. It's trash. I do not like the voice. His voice sounds terrible. You should have at least got someone like Charles Martinet. He's sitting right there in the store, ready to voice Mario, and he would have been the perfect Mario. He would have been a great Mario. He sounds like Mario in every other Mario video game, but no. They needed to find someone who's famous because that's Illumination. That's the way it is. And but listen, go look at the Sonic movie. They whoever plays Sonic, they didn't need someone who is famous to be at the top of the poster, and that movie was amazing. The Sonic movie was amazing. It was so good. I loved it. It was great. But in this, and let's just go back to the movie. I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting on track of like Mario movie and stuff like that. Let's get back to the Rise of Gru. So another issue with the movie is that it's just its plot, it's like, to me, another issue I found with the plot is that it's just not appealing plot. I know that this is kind of like just like a really low plot. I mean, it is a better. I mean, it may if it's probably just like the same quality as the plot of the first Minions movie, if not even worse than that. It feels like that sometimes. I feel like that like the quality of the plot for this movie was even worse than the first one. But even though this was definitely better than the first one, I just really wish that they had more Gru, because Gru's more an enjoyable character. So it feels like that like it could be fun for the younger audience to have minions on screen a lot, but if you're just gonna like make movies like that, if you're just gonna like put more minions on screen, you might as well put some Gru too. And instead of making Gru kidnapped for like half of the movie, then you might as well if you're gonna make him kidnapped for half of this movie, then don't call it the Rise of Gru. Call it like Minions Vicious Six Rises or something like that. I don't know. That just came out of my head the second I thought it. Honestly, I do. In it, I'm like in every like it just. I don't. I mean, honestly, and what has it been? It's been like what, like over 5 whole years since like a last like Minions movie happened, or I don't know. Like, and last thing that I perspective, it's been like what, over 5 years since we had an other like Minions or Despicable Me movie. I mean, no, it was not Minions, but it was Despicable Me 3. And that movie, it was not terrible, but it's actually worse than this. Despicable Me 3 was not exactly like terrible or awful. It was just bad in general. Too many plots for me. I was getting dizzy. Ugh. Honestly thought that like because they could have made a better plot, then you could have like I feel like that like the purpose of this movie just doesn't mean a lot. I feel like that like you honestly like you could have at least put more effort into this movie. I mean honestly you like I feel like that like its plot was very the plot was not that terrible, but it was very not an interesting plot. The storyline just and the Vicious Six team have no personality. They got incredibly boring and stupid, and just really don't give any attention to the story and just stand there on screen. And they should have called it something better than the Rise of Gru, because there wasn't a lot of Gru. I know. I mean, yes. I mean, there's a good balance between Minions and the Gru at the same time. But honestly, you could have at least done something better. Like, you could have at least had him on screen more, but after, like, the part of where, like, Gru Lizzie ends up getting kidnapped, and then he's like that for the entire movie, then the minions have to come on this journey and save him, which kind of ends up being the whole movie. Then at the final battle, like, the newer versions were a million times more interesting than these like, the original version. Those villains were, like, not exactly like God, but they were appealing versions, though. They were really cool versions, but we only get, like, 5 minutes of them. And then at the end, there's this like part where like the minions learn kung fu, but they like barely even utilize it, so it's just so pointless. But then the final battle, the minions Kevin, Stewart, and Bob, they fight them, and then they turn into like mega flaming fire, and then the villains just get defeated in 5 seconds max. What does this journey even mean? Like, this whole thing adventure. Like, what does this even mean? Like, 5 seconds max. What the heck was I watching for then? I don't actually like, get why they just feel okay. Okay. What are my okay? That's kind of the issues with this movie. What are the final thoughts for this movie? The final thoughts for this movie is that it just feels like the storyline just has no purpose, and is not really a good plot, and it's really not really deep either. And it didn't really have enough. It didn't have enough Gru. It had a good enough balance, but it really didn't have enough Gru. The It had a hard time, and the minions and this whole thing adventure just doesn't actually mean a lot, because they just did it defeated in 5 seconds max. The Vicious Six team doesn't have a lot of personality, are incredibly boring and stupid. So what's my rating for this? Well, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. Honestly, I thought it was okay in the past, but it's not okay. It's like not too bad. It's not that bad. I'm gonna put it at this rating because I mean it wasn't like bad or terrible or awful, so I'll take it. This is not a terrible movie. So I'll see you in my next video. I'll be doing some really cool reviews this year. Bye. I'll see you in my next video. Peace out, everyone.